It's Wednesday Hump Day Radio on the Early Line SportsGrid Network, and boy, do we have a show for you today. Why is that? The Vegas Golden Knights had 39 regular season wins, fired their coach seemingly in the last month of the season, last couple weeks of the season. Carter Hart moves in, Tort moves in. A sweep by the Golden Knights right into the Stanley Cup final, where they await the victors of the Eastern Conference, which will be Montreal and or the Carolina Hurricanes. How about last night? We told you on the show. Joe's like, you know what? SGA is probably going to get 30-plus points. Look into that. He does that, check mark. And also taking a 3-2 series lead, OKC. Major League Baseball played on yesterday by Philadelphia Phillies late night. Aaron Nola and the Phillies picked up a win. It's the last time you could say that here. So many topics to get to, right on deck to get you halfway to your weekend. Donnie right side, Joe Ranieri. Just what we do, Joe.
How we do it, Donnie. And the best part is that we are halfway to the finals now. We know the Knicks are in. We know the Vegas Knights are in for the NHL. So now we got a couple more games to go before we actually have championship games being played.
We had Monday a day off. Yesterday, the energy was getting high here. Maybe you're running on adrenaline at this point. So get that cup of coffee, fill it up to the brim. The hottest topic of the day is coming to you fresh. Let's go, Joe.
Oh, Donnie, this story makes me laugh. But we got to talk about the hypocrisy coming from the NCAA once again. And, oh, yeah, by the way, the complete lack of institutional control down in Lubbock, Texas. Now, yesterday, we did get the official word that the NCAA has denied Texas Tech quarterback Brendan Sorsby's request for reinstatement for the 2026 season. Now, this comes after he wrapped up a 35-day rehab program for, quote, gambling addiction. Now, Sorsby was one of the most coveted transfers in college football this offseason. He went ahead and landed himself a $5 million NIL deal. And if we're being honest, it's probably a lot more than that. But it turns out there was a little more to his story than just betting a few bucks on his Indiana Hoosier teammates back in 2022. It turns out that this guy placed over 10,000 wagers. He was averaging 20 bets a day at his peak. And what was he betting on, you ask? Well, here you go. How's Romanian soccer sound? Turkish basketball? Yes. How about even the Nathan's famous hot dog eating contest? This kid spent 4 years placing 20 bets a day on competitive hot dog eating, and nobody said a word while he was winning games and cashing million-dollar NIL checks. Nobody at Indiana noticed. Nobody at Cincinnati noticed. And more importantly, the suits at Texas Tech handed him a $5 million NIL deal without even bothering to vet him first? How do you invest $5 million into a quarterback and not realize he's sweating out Turkish basketball totals in the locker room at halftime? But let's talk about the biggest hypocrites in this entire circus if we can, because the NCAA just keeps outdoing himself. Sorsby's attorneys hit the nail on the head when they called the NCAA deeply hypocritical for profiting off the exact same gambling ecosystem they police. The NCAA literally has a partnership with Genius Sports to distribute real-time data feeds to, you guessed it, sportsbooks. They watched over $3 billion get waged on their basketball tournament alone this year. They created this Wild West environment with unchecked NIL money, and the transfer portal is over the top. And now they want to play the moral authority. You can't have it both ways. You cannot cash massive checks from the sports betting industry and then pretend to be shocked when the kid that you turned into a professional entertainer starts acting like a degenerate gambler. Brendan Sorsby is learning a hard lesson today. But if we're being honest here, maybe, just maybe, Texas Tech and the NCAA shouldn't be throwing around $5 million or cashing checks from an industry, Donnie, that they want to pretend is oh so bad. Brendan Sorsby is taking personal responsibility. Donnie, at what point do these universities and the NCAA start taking a little personal responsibility?
Once they start being fined and once they start removing scholarships and money and saying, you know what, back in the day, Joe, when you had a renegade program in the 80s, you know what they did? They turned your lights out for a year. And like, remember SMU? We'll never do that again because the atom bomb was dropped on them for paying their players. That scared the heck out of a lot of universities here. But the one thing we got to get straight also, Joe and Brandon Sworsby, is if you told me he was betting online craps, online blackjack, online roulette, betting on the NHL finals, betting on the NBA finals, I wouldn't have any issue with that. You know, though, when you are betting on your sport, that's a no-no. When you are betting on your own football team, I don't care to win or lose, that's the ultimate no-no. He had no leg to stand up. I got to tell you, Joe, it's a part of me deep down that's like, you know what? Get this into the court system and say, yeah, injunction, he's going to play. So you would have an active football player who bet on his own team playing college football. That would have blown the system all the way up. So maybe we do have a leg to stand on at this point, but deep down, as I said, Joe, I was rooting for it to go the other way. Great topic to start our Wednesday here, Joe, as we get into the early lineup, which includes OKC. Jared McCain into the starting lineup. SGA drops 32 points, and there you have it. A 127-114 final. The win and cover by the Thunder, commanding 3-2 series lead.
Yeah, listen, it wasn't a great spot for the Spurs, Donnie. We knew that. I mean, Game 5, going back, they just blew out OKC. OKC is tremendous at bouncing back. And they did exactly what they needed to do, OKC, and that was limit Wembanyama, and their role players had a big night, Donnie. And when that happens, that's a very difficult team to beat, and San Antonio knows it.
We say it all the time. Bench players, secondary performers always play better at home. Alex Cruz and the boys really stepped up for OKC and SGA. They come away with the victory. LeBron James, he's not taking any discounts, Joe. This is the second time we heard from this. Coming back to the Lakers, not playing with the Lakers. This is not going to be a veteran minimum to avoid those secondary markets where you get those taxes higher and higher. LeBron goes, pay me what I'm worth.
We knew this was, again, it's Lakers or bust here. And that's all it is, Donnie. It's the Lakers. Maybe he'll take a little less money to come back to LA, but it's the Lakers he's going to do the farewell tour with. We all just better be prepared for it.
Kenny Atkinson just must have got a printout yesterday that said, oh, look at that. The Cavaliers advanced to the finals analytically over the Knicks after getting swept. But he is back for next year. Kenny back in the seat in Cleveland.
Oh, and just like that thud you heard overnight, Donnie, were Cavs fans just passing out going, you're bringing him back. Yes, they're bringing him back. So enjoy that, Cavs fans. Should be a good time. Oh, and by the way, good luck with James Harden again next year, because I don't see him going anywhere anytime soon either.
Josh Jacobs, where's he going anytime soon? One of the best running backs in the NFL, a key linchpin on that offense for the Green Bay Packers. Look at this. On a May 23rd complaint, this guy now strung up on a ton of felony charges, but I tweeted out yesterday, Joe, hey, that's not that big of a deal in the NFL. His charges should be dropped. He'll be ready for training camp as if nothing happened here. That seems to be the MO.
Well, he turned himself in, and he is adamant that none of this happened. So, again, it's one of those situations, Donnie, where it's unfortunate, but let it play out. We'll know sooner rather than later as to what's going on, but not a great situation for the Packers and Josh Jacobs at all right now.
Not a good look. I'll tell you what is a good look. Derwin James, one of the best safeties in the NFL. Rangy, to say the least. He's getting paid for it as well, Joe. 3 years, $76 million for a safety. Woo, boy.
That's huge money, Dottie. That is resetting kind of money in the marketplace there. But you know what? The guy is one of the best in the game. And when you're that good, Dottie, you should be paid more than just about everybody else in your position.
We'll talk a little bit about Brian Flores in this segment. And also, USMT, the World Cup rosters are announced by email, Joe. It's the way the world works now. We'll be right back.
Endure months of manufactured rumors about will he or won't he retire LeBron James. They are probably, Donnie, working on the Decision 2.0 for Amazon Prime as we speak. Is Jim Gray still around? But here is the beauty of the predictive markets. They make insufferable stories about insufferable people highly profitable.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
You can recruit super young talent that may go in the NBA. You can recruit older guys and have them grow up together. But if you want players to stay, either sign them to contracts or treat them well enough where they're going to stay. To me, it's pretty simple. And, you know, a lot of coaches last year had good years and they left skid marks on their schools and nobody said a word.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
Mattingly is doing a great job, clearly, right? They're 16-4 since he took over, but we have to remember when Rob Thompson took over for the Phillies and they went 65-46 back in 2022, he finished 5th in NL Manager of the Year that year. So could Mattingly win it? Of course, but he doesn't really have history on his side. I'm still on Don Kelly 15-1 to win Manager of the Year.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
They're trading right now currently at 74 wins on the season, which means the Kalshi marketplace goes by 5-win intervals. 75-plus wins for those Houston Astros. That's a 49% contract to the yes, which a $100 investment pays back $205, Greg. I'm not high on this team. Look, again, 75 wins for the Astros is terrible, but this team might not even look the same as where we stand today by the time we get to that deadline.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Spreadlines. We're going to start tonight at Centre Bell in Montreal. The Les Habitants trying to keep their season alive against those Carolina Hurricanes, Joe. If we take a look at the line, however, Montreal's a pretty good team. Minus 150s or higher across the board for the Carolina Hurricanes. You take a look at the total of this game. Low, Joe, at 5.5. Seems like that Carolina defense power play and special teams has settled in here tonight, Joe. We could get the Stanley Cup final already known by the end of tonight. Or, Joe, does Montreal win and force another game in Carolina? What's your spread line for this one?
Well, listen, they have 2 overtime losses here, Donnie, and we can make the argument that they are very much in this series here still, and they're on their own home ice, which is great. And they've also done something that they have not done in a very long time, I think since March 14th and 15th. That was the last time Montreal had lost back-to-back games. They're currently on a 2-game losing streak, Donnie, and the last time it happened was mid-March. So you would think that they will bounce back. They've done it all year long here. They're on their home ice, and they understand they can't go back to Carolina down 3-1. I do think you are going to see a very feisty Canadiens team at home. But, Donnie, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Again, they have not had an under in the first period in any of their games in forever, Donnie. All of these games in this series have all gone over on the first period, over 1.5 goals. There is no reason to think we won't get over 1.5 goals in this one either again tonight.
Yeah, you're right about that, too. 3-1 series lead, it's going to be a wrap. Like, you're not going to beat Carolina on the way out of the series and run the table into the Stanley Cup final. A must-win game for the Canadiens at home tonight, or else it is the Canadiens down 3-1, going back to Raleigh. That's never a good sign, Joe. Major League Baseball, fighting Phils out on the West Coast, 2 straight victories over the San Diego Padres. And today, the Padres are going to throw Walker Buehler. Christopher Sanchez, the lefty for the Philadelphia Phillies, on the mound, who seems like he hasn't given up a run this entire season so far. That's why you get that price show at a minus 162, up from minus 155 overnight, in a total between 7 and 7.5, depending on where you're shopping. A 4-10 start for the Phillies and the Padres today, with the Phillies a heavy favorite on the road. What's your spread line tonight for this one, Joe?
Well, I mean, let's face it. Sanchez is barely giving up runs, much less hits. So it's going to be kind of hard. The Padres, again, still struggling a little bit here. They got to be scratching their head, though, going, wait a minute. We were like one of the best teams in the National League here going into, and now all of a sudden we're what, plus 130, 135? Well, when you throw out Walker Buehler against Sanchez, there might be a bit of a discrepancy here. Again, it's Petco Park. I still think the total is 7. I like the Phillies team total up and over. I can't trust the Padres lineup, but I can trust the Phillies the way they're swinging to get to Walker Buehler.
Look at that fight. Phil's on a win streak on the West Coast here. We'll see how it plays out. Houston and Texas, the battle of the state. Coming down to Burrows on the mound here for Houston and Jacob deGrom for those Texas Rangers. Heavy favorite for the Rangers as you see that graphic, Joe, minus 164 and a total of 7.5. 17 combined runs yesterday between these two. Houston and Texas tonight, Joe. What are we looking at as a spread line here?
Well, what was funny, Donnie, is that, Texas was a little upset about the whole no-hitter with 3 pitchers the night prior. So they opened up the game with 8 runs in the bottom of the first inning last night, and the bats finally got going. And listen, Burrows was supposed to be a guy that was going to help solidify this rotation for Houston. He just hasn't lived up to it at this point here. And deGrom is deGrom here. I like Texas again in this spot. I think they finally got the bats rolling last night. Globe Life has been a tremendous under stadium, Donnie. Maybe not so much here in this series, but I can tell you what, I think we're getting an under here. 7.5, I like the under here.
It's crazy, too. You look at that division, like the Athletics lead it at 27-28, and say, what are the Rangers' record now? 25-29. They stink. Game and a half out of first place here, which means you win that division, you automatically go to the playoffs and have yet first-round series in your own building. Crazy, where it's like, you know what? Division not so good. Everybody is still in at this point. Even the Angels only 6 games back. They got 21 victories on the season. Flip it over to the WNBA. First game up on the card tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern. The New York Liberty going to take on the Phoenix Mercury. This line opened up, Joe, 6.5, but we see a drop across the board at 5.5. You're still as a favorite towards the New York Liberty, and a total 171.5. Mercury Liberty in Brooklyn tonight.
It's been a hot minute, Donnie. I mean, look at the Liberty sitting at 3-4. Ionescu there has been on the injured list, and they have dropped 3 consecutive games at the Barclays Center. And they haven't done that, Donnie, since 2022. They, over the years, have been one of the most automatic home teams in the WNBA. But you know what? It's not so much this year. But the Phoenix Mercury also a little disappointing so far this year, Donnie, sitting at 2-5. Anytime you still have Breanna Stewart, though, you got to like the chances of them snapping out of it. I think the Liberty get one back here tonight.
Tempo on a 2-game losing streak going to take on the Chicago Sky. Take a look at the standings there. The Sky, if the season were to end today, Joe, be in the playoffs at 3-3, but just behind them, the Tempo at 3-4. This line opened up, Joe, at minus 3.5. Look at the graphic now, though. Increasing the Sky as a favorite up to 5.5 and a total of 170.5. The newly born Tempo taking on the Sky in Chicago.
Yeah, well, if you've been watching the Sky play basketball, not good. They have dropped, 2 straight at home. They lost Saturday to the Minnesota Lynx, and in that game, Donnie, they went 23 of 73 from the field and 6 of 29 from 3. They are going to have to shoot better if they are going to be taken seriously at home. But they're at 500. The Tempo are new. But the Tempo have really done a great job. Scoring has not been the problem for them, Donnie. Defense has been the problem for them. I like the Tempo on the road to get it done. Cannot trust the Chicago Sky offensively to be efficient enough to actually win this game. I do think points, though, could very well be coming here.
And no, should I say, Indiana action tonight with the Fever. They'll play tomorrow night, Joe. So, they're in prime time. Of course, it's Caitlin Clark. Yeah, they're 10 o'clock tomorrow night. Something's going on where they just want to bury the Fever, don't give them too much primetime action. And I don't know if that's great for league-wide ratings. But it is what it is. Those are the spread lines that you need to get caught up to, and now you are. More hot topics on the way. Coming up next, Donnie Rightside and Joe Ranieri. This is the SportsGrid Network. You are watching the Early Line.
we have to endure months of manufactured rumors about will he or won't he retire LeBron James. They are probably, Donnie, working on the Decision 2.0 for Amazon Prime as we speak. Is Jim Gray still around? But here is the beauty of the predictive markets. They make insufferable stories about insufferable people highly profitable.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
You can recruit super young talent that may go in the NBA. You can recruit older guys and have them grow up together. But if you want players to stay, either sign them to contracts or treat them well enough where they're going to stay. To me, it's pretty simple. And, you know, a lot of coaches last year had good years and they left skid marks on their schools and nobody said a word.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
Mattingly is doing a great job, clearly, right? They're 16-4 since he took over, but we have to remember when Rob Thompson took over for the Phillies and they went 65-46 back in 2022, he finished 5th in NL Manager of the Year that year. So could Mattingly win it? Of course, but he doesn't really have history on his side. I'm still on Don Kelly 15-1 to win Manager of the Year.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
They're trading right now currently at 74 wins on the season, which means the Kalshi marketplace goes by 5-win intervals. 75-plus wins for those Houston Astros. That's a 49% contract to the yes, which a $100 investment pays back $205, Greg. I'm not high on this team. Look, again, 75 wins for the Astros is terrible, but this team might not even look the same as where we stand today by the time we get to that deadline.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Major League Baseball news and notes on a Wednesday hump day right here on the Early Line SportsGrid Network. It's Joe and Donnie. Sad news here. Bob Horner passes away, born in 1957. He was the first overall pick, Joe, in the 1978 Major League Baseball draft. And unlike today, Joe, 10 days after he was drafted, he was playing Major League Baseball. Had a great career playing 9 out of his 10 seasons with the Atlanta Braves, which included, Joe, 1982 All-Star appearance, led the Braves to a division championship, and also had the distinction, Joe, of hitting 4 home runs in one game. Came out of college, Joe, at Arizona State as the all-time leader in home runs, which, of course, has been broken by now. All those crazy bat advantages in the late 80s and early 90s. Great baseball player passes away. Atlanta Braves legend.
Yeah, did you see that picture? I mean, those were the days when, like, guys coming out of high school and college looked like, 35-year-old men. Like, he had forearms like Popeye. Like, these were just big men. And he was part of that whole, they went from in Atlanta, Dale Murphy, wasted all those years of him. And then they had, they had some players back there. They were terrible for so many years. But Bob Horner that was a pretty good 1-2 punch they had in Atlanta. Great third baseman, too, underrated.
No, it was a really good player back in the day at that point. But I always like to see, like today, like, we can't start his clock, Joe. The Braves like, dude, get him up to the majors. He's the best player we got here. Let's go. And away they went. Craig Kimbrell. Did this guy make his Major League debut also in 1983 and is still playing Major League Baseball? I guess, Joe, if you are a crane-approached pitcher, you can still hang around. He's been bad for a while, but now, by the way, when the Rays sign you here, what leads me to believe, Joe, his velocity is going to go up, is going to be a dominant closer now because the Rays got him.
Something tells me yes, because the Rays figure out a way to do this. We can say a lot about the Rays. They may be penny pinchers, Donnie, but the reality is they have quite the staff there that helps the pitchers, and they turn out pitchers. So maybe, just maybe at this point in his career, that's exactly, you landed at the right place here. But I don't know how he's still finding work. I really don't.
I'll tell you one thing there. In New York City, you're lucky that the New York Knicks are the toast of the town, about to make a finals run here, first time since 1999, because it covers up a lot of stink. And when we talk about that, that's the New York Mets, who can't get out of their own way. I don't know what they're waiting for. General manager still in place, manager still in place. Luis Robert Jr. was one of those players they brought over. It's like, you know what? if we can hit a gem here, this guy bounces back, we'll find ourselves something. It ain't bouncing anything, Joe. 60-day IL, lumbar spine disc herniation, Joe. You've played baseball. Try to get your swing together with that injury.
No, you're not. But again, Donnie, why is anybody surprised with the Mets? He had this issue with the White Sox. I mean, he's been like that. But, you know, he wasn't a very good locker room guy. And then if he wasn't playing and causing problems, he was hurt. So now the Mets are like, oh, I can't believe it. This guy was supposed. What did you think was going to happen here, Mets? You gave him all that money. Good luck if you can get 60 games out of him in a season.
By the way, we're talking about the U.S. national team here for the men's. Like, hey, did you make the team by email? I bet you Mendoza's watching right now for some emails that come through. But let's hear him from yesterday.
Carlos, how do you, or do you, or have you already addressed Peterson not backing up there?
It can happen. It can happen. Obviously, he knows that. There's no excuses for it. I haven't talked to him about it, but obviously there's going to be a conversation. He knows he made a mistake, but there's no excuses there.
Here, watch a little wrestling, Joe. You want to show up the opponent here. Give him a little X-chop down in the right region. How about this? Abner Uribe busted out the biggest crotch chop this side of Shawn Michaels. The Cardinals didn't like it. His manager didn't like it. And no one in the ballpark seemed to be buying his explanation for it. So we always say, celebrate, but don't show up the other team, Joe. You can't do that to the other team because in baseball, you're still going to hear about it. The only difference now is pitchers don't bat, so somebody else is probably going to have to take the brunt of that celebration sooner than later.
Again, Donnie, I mean, this is the one sport that does a great job of policing itself. If you get out of line and you do stupid things, it's going to affect you or your teammates, one or the other. So don't do it. It's a hard lesson to learn, Donnie, but he's going to learn it in a big, big way.
Yep, celebrate with your teams. Like, we see it all the time. Like, pitchers, out there, big strikeout in the big moment, fist pump, right off that mound, excited to get there. Nobody gets upset by that. But if you strike the batter out, you stare him down, you tell him about it, and you give him the X-chop, probably not going to go over too well there. But again, used to be in the past, Joe. Sooner than later, you got to come to the plate, and you'll deal with it yourself. But now you look in the dugout for your own team like, brother, you just went out there and celebrated there. You're not going to be in trouble. I'm getting ear-holed when I get up there because you wanted to have fun on the mound. Releasing themselves, Joe, and away we go. We're back with this short break on the early line.
To endure months of manufactured rumors about will he or won't he retire LeBron James. They are probably, Donnie, working on the Decision 2.0 for Amazon Prime as we speak. Is Jim Gray still around? But here is the beauty of the predictive markets. They make insufferable stories about insufferable people highly profitable.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
You can recruit super young talent that may go in the NBA. You can recruit older guys and have them grow up together. But if you want players to stay, either sign them to contracts or treat them well enough where they're going to stay. To me, it's pretty simple. And, a lot of coaches last year had good years and they left skid marks on their schools and nobody said a word.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
Job, clearly, right? They're 16-4 since he took over, but we have to remember when Rob Thompson took over for the Phillies and they went 65-46 back in 2022, he finished 5th in NL Manager of the Year that year. So could Mattingly win it? Of course, but he doesn't really have history on his side. I'm still on Don Kelly 15-1 to win Manager of the Year.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
They're trading right now currently at 74 wins on the season, which means the Kalshi marketplace goes by 5-win intervals. 75-plus wins for those Houston Astros. That's a 49% contract to the yes, which a $100 investment pays back $205, Greg. I'm not high on this team. Look, again, 75 wins for the Astros is terrible, but this team might not even look the same as where we stand today by the time we get to that deadline.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Joe, more from the chop heard around the world. And when you have a rivalry in the Central Division between the Cardinals and the Brewers in a 6-0 lead, you don't really want to fire up the opponent because that could lead to some extracurricular activities. And by the way, underdog MLB quoted Pat Murphy, that's unacceptable. I don't know what got over him. I mean, he's been an emotional guy, but that kind of thing, that's just not how we do things. And I was embarrassed by it. Let's hear from Pat Murphy directly on this.
Yeah, that's unacceptable. Yeah, it's just unacceptable. I don't know what got over him. I mean, he's been an emotional guy, but that kind of thing, that's just not how we do things, and I was embarrassed by it. And, you know, why are we doing it? It's a 6-0 game. What are we doing there? And there must be something deeper that I don't know about. I love the kid. Believe me, I love the kid. There's so much good in this kid. He's been so great for us in so many ways, but that's unacceptable. So whatever's going on, you can't tolerate that for his teammates and for everything else. It's just not. It's not going to be tolerated. That's all there's to it. So.
There you go. You know, you're the manager here. You got a stern voice. You say, you know what, unacceptable at that point. Love the kid. He won't do it again. That's how you handled it. No time for embarrassment here. Get the word out there. Maybe protect some of your batters who might be thrown out as well. So manager coming back, Joe, and saying, look, he's not going to do it again. Embarrassed. I don't know what got into him. Love the kid. Let's get past it.
Donnie, I mean, more of that, like, please. Like, there's an adult in the room. Look at that, who didn't try to cover for him, make excuses, or held his and said it ain't happening. I'll have a conversation. It ain't going to happen again. Like, what are you doing? All of that. Please give me more of that, Donnie. More teams need that kind of leadership. My goodness.
Let's flip it over to the new leader here, Joe, in New Orleans. It's Mr. Jamal Mosley, who came over from the Orlando Magic. And everybody wants to know, is Zion going to stay? And what he thinks of Zion. Let's hear it.
I think capitalizing on it and then he hasn't even scratched the surface of things he can do. I really do believe that. And I think being able to open the floor up more for him, attacking, being able to play him in different positions, because he's an excellent basketball player with a high IQ. For playmaking, for making guys around him better, knowing when to make plays, and the right passes to make. But I think just opening the floor up a lot more for him to attack the basket, giving space, being able to live at the free throw line consistently. But some of the things he's done here have been obviously spectacular. And so just making sure that we continue that along with us being healthy.
Just scratching the surface, Joe. What is this guy, a rookie out here at this point? I mean, Zion's been in the league a long time, been injured a ton. What's Mosley going to be able to get out of him? Any ideas?
Oh, look at that. Zion just got hurt, Donnie. Yeah, so it looks like he won't be available for Mosley next year. Listen, when I think of opening up the floor, and are you talking about offense? Because you just came from an Orlando Magic team that had a whole lot of guys that you couldn't score enough. Like, offense was not your specialty. And now you're going to ask Zion all of a sudden to what? To be defensive. It ain't going to work, Donnie. It's just not going to work there. And Zion, I think, at some point is going to begin to go down the Giannis path where he might be pushing himself out of New Orleans sooner rather than later.
NBA players make a lot of money, so do NBA coaches. If you want to make a lot of money, apparently sometimes, Joe, you just got to be a collector. Now, is this where I go to the store and get a $1 pack and open it up and I can find myself with a $5 million card? The 2023 Prism Black 1-of-1 Victor Wembanyama just sold for $5.11 million in a private deal brokered by Act Collect. This is the most expensive non-auto NBA card ever sold and more than 5 times higher than Wemby's previous record of $860,000 set in February of 2005. It's also the third sports card to cross $5 million this year alone. Now, is this something, Joe, you can open up in any pack? Or are these packs hundreds of dollars? How do you get a $5 million card? I thought the card industry was done.
How many, I mean, honestly, like when that card came out, so how many packs did you have to buy? Let's be honest here. Like, how much money was invested to find that lotto ticket? And there was only one made? One made.
Yeah,
so
101.
Kudos. Yeah, kudos. I mean, that's great. That's like finding the winning lotto ticket here, Donnie. And now I will say this: maybe in 2 years or 3 years, Donnie, we'll do the same story. Yeah. It'll sell for 8.9. Couple of years after that, 11 point. There is no end to what these collectors are willing to spend on this stuff.
What about all those Ken Griffey Upper Deck rookie cards, Joe? When are they going to be worth $5.11 million? You know, I have a Topps Wayne Gretzky rookie card. Nowhere near that. What, am I going to get $500 for that at this point? Where's my $5 million card? That's all I want to know. Exactly. Because apparently, Joe, you got to get this $5 million card if you want to actually just pay for maybe Knicks tickets in the NBA Finals. Have you caught, Joe, how much money these Knicks tickets are going for in Madison Square Garden? The most expensive of all time. Get in prices for Game 3, $3,800. Game 4, $3,600. And you said, well, why would Game 6, which might not happen, be $5,000? That's probably your best chance to see the New York Knicks win the trophy to be the NBA champions here. How expensive can they get? Joe, I'm even seeing like $100,000 plus to sit courtside for an NBA game. What?
Well, Donnie, we brought this up during the Cleveland series, where if I was a Knicks fan, I'd wait till they went back to Cleveland because the tickets were $300 there. Like, you got to go. And by the way, I hope you're not afraid of heights, because $5,000 gets you in the building and sits you on Madison Square Garden's roof. And that's where you get to sit. You don't actually get to see anything. You do get to be in the building, Donnie. It is out of control. And I can tell you, it's only going to get worse here as the NBA Finals moves on.
It sort of makes me laugh a little bit because obviously, you know, New York City, big metropolis, they love their basketball. It shows you how bad the Knicks have been as a team throughout their entire history, where these prices are so high, Joe, because people are like, I don't think I'm ever going to see this again. I might as well get into the building here. Crazy town at this point, but it probably is better off. Like, I'm going to spend $100,000 to sit courtside here. Why don't I spend what? $15,000 to sit courtside in OKC, get a private jet flown out there and have a 5-star hotel and still be way cheaper than just those prices in New York City. Crazy time at this point. Joe Mazzulla, he's your coach of the year in 2025, 2026. Wait a second. Didn't they get beat by the Philadelphia 76ers in round number 1? Look at Joe out there holding it up. Bang! Coach of the year. First Celtics head coach to win it since Bill Fitch in 80. That's odd.
And he's funny, too, because, you know, they were talking to him last night on the break, and he's like, yeah, this is like, you know, he's not big into awards and doesn't take any accolades. Like, he's one of the most laid-back dudes, Donnie, which is great. But, hey, congratulations, man. You did more with that team than anybody thought you were going to do this year.
Let's go back to last night's pivotal game. In game number 5, the winner in a best of 3 at that point is going to have the upper hand. It was OKC last night, Joe, 127-114. Won the first quarter, won the second quarter, lost the third by 1, won the fourth quarter by 3. Double-digit victory and a cover for OKC. They're always a very good home team, buoyed by the efforts there of SGA. He always scores between 28 and like 35 points. It's exactly where he wants to land. But Jared McCain inserted into that starting lineup, played 33 minutes, Joe, scored 20 points there to help him out. And how about Alex Caruso, who banged up that ankle in the first half? 22 points, which included 4 of 8 from three-point range and 8 of 8 from the free throw line. OKC gets the job done, one victory away from getting back to the finals.
Yeah, and listen, I mean, home court advantage matters, right? Yeah. So now I still think this is going to go 7, Donnie. I think that the bounce back will happen with the Spurs, and then it'll be for all the marbles in a Game 7. And you know what? If I'm the Knicks, I'm hoping for a Game 7, Donnie. Let them just keep taking the bite out of each other here, and the Knicks are sitting there stretching out right now, waiting for them.
That'll be a war, too. By the way, Victor Wembanyama did score 20 points, only 4 of 15, Joe, from the floor. But, hey, get to the free throw line and cash in. That's where you can make some good money. 12 of 12 from the free throw line here. 1 win away, OKC. We're moving on. See if it happens. We'll be right back after this break.
To endure months of manufactured rumors about will he or won't he retire LeBron James. They are probably, Donnie, working on the Decision 2.0 for Amazon Prime as we speak. Is Jim Gray still around? But here is the beauty of the predictive markets. They make insufferable stories about insufferable people highly profitable.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
You can recruit super young talent that may go in the NBA. You can recruit older guys and have them grow up together. But if you want players to stay, either sign them to contracts or treat them well enough where they're going to stay. To me, it's pretty simple. And, you know, a lot of coaches last year had good years and they left skid marks on their schools and nobody said a word.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
Mattingly is doing a great job, clearly, right? They're 16-4 since he took over, but we have to remember when Rob Thompson took over for the Phillies and they went 65-46 back in 2022, he finished 5th in NL Manager of the Year that year. So could Mattingly win it? Of course, but he doesn't really have history on his side. I'm still on Don Kelly 15-1 to win Manager of the Year.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
They're trading right now currently at 74 wins on the season, which means the Kalshi marketplace goes by 5-win intervals. 75-plus wins for those Houston Astros. That's a 49% contract to the yes, which a $100 investment pays back $205, Greg. I'm not high on this team. Look, again, 75 wins for the Astros is terrible, but this team might not even look the same as where we stand today by the time we get to that deadline.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
LeBron James, Jaromir Jagr, playing into your 40s, 20-plus seasons here. It doesn't happen in professional sports. You can't do that here. Oh, yeah? Evgeny Malkin's back with a one-year, $5.5 million deal that can be up to $9 million if he hits his incentives here, Joe. For some reason, man, hockey players just are built different in so many different ways. We were thinking maybe Gino might hang him up. Nah, he's back and he's getting paid. Making a run again for the Penguins. No rebuild in sight so far, Joe.
Yeah, it's, probably what was the old Belichick saying? Or I'd rather move on like a year early than a year late.
Yep.
Kind of not the
On his
Penguins.
last
They just
leg,
keep
Joe.
bringing back every fossil, dude, they can find. Just keep bringing them back, man. That's it. And giving them a lot of money, too. That's even better.
Yep. But like Letang was on a half of a leg here. We'll see if he rejoins the equation.
Yes, exactly.
And Sid's like, we got more in us. And how about you said remember the pictures like in the preseason, like, hey, Marc-Andre Fleury's back for like a preseason game. Bring the band and get them all back together and have that reunion tour next year. See if it works in their favor because the Flyers will end it again on those Pittsburgh Penguins. How about this, Joe? TSN reports Canada versus the USA in the men's quarterfinal here. We'll see an Olympic gold medal game rematch between the Canadians and the Americans in the World Championships quarterfinal. How about that? Look at a Chipotle sponsor on the helmet of USA.
Love it. And I bet, Donnie, are you ready? It'll be the most watched quarterfinal ever. Ever will it be. Eyeballs all over the place, as well it should, because now we've got to watch it as well.
Look at this, Joe. I mean, hey, when you're in Vegas, how do you blow off steam? You go to practice, you break down some film. Oh, no, I'm in a luxury casino in a 5-star room. I got some time to burn. Let me sit back and relax, Joe. Do you know who's playing there on that table to the right? Who is that, Joe? Can I see it? Who is that?
That's a good question, Don. Who is that? I can't say. Who is that?
Head coach, certain head coach of a certain hockey team in town to try to get his boys ready to play. Doesn't look like it worked out too well, Joe, does it?
No.
Avalanche
it
head
did
coach.
not work out well. Yeah, that did not work out well. But plenty of time in the offseason, Donnie, to figure it out, though. They'll have plenty of time.
And again, though, if you do play Vegas, like there is the Vegas flu, and I'm not advocating like, hey, we got to go to Vegas and party and go out to nightclubs all night. But I got to tell you, like if you're in Vegas in a hotel, and it's like, all right, I can go to bed or just go down 5 or 6 floors and play some blackjack or craps. Like, come on. Like, you don't get to do that all the time. And you're down 0-3 in a series. What's the big deal at this point? By the way, breaking news, Joe. Huge news. Did you hear this? The Avalanche star Nathan McKinnon's going to play in Game 4 against the Golden Knights. Wait a second. Game was last night. They're home for the holidays now, Joe. Was it such good news there to get him back and didn't help all that much?
No, it didn't. 3-2-1 Cancun. That's where they're on their way to here. Not again another President's Cup trophy winning team, best record in the regular season. Yeah, okay. Enjoy your tea time.
39 wins the Vegas Golden Knights had. And this is just in basketball, this rarely happens, like these monster upsets. Vegas wasn't supposed to make the playoffs, then made it. Vegas wasn't supposed to do anything. And then not on top of that, just hey, hard fought game number 7, crazy bounces. They swept the Avalanche. Enter in the Stanley Cup with Torts. Hey, Torts took a while, 6-8 months to get a set. No, Torts took 24 hours to put his system in. And here they are once again in the Stanley Cup final. By the way, Vegas fans, you don't know how good you have it. It's not supposed to be like this. Hey, got a team 10 years ago, and we're 3 or 4 times already in the Stanley Cup final. That's ridiculous at this point. But John Tortorella probably doesn't want to get fined, so he's talking to the media after a clinching win in a series. Let's hear from him.
Well, John, I want to ask you a question about yourself, but I know you'd rather talk about your team first, so let's start there. What makes you the most proud of your group?
Well, you know how it is. You cover it. The ups and downs of playoffs, momentum swings. I think our team just stays steady. First couple of rounds, we were down in one of the rounds. I think they just steady themselves and they just play. I know people are tired of hearing that, but that's all we talk about is let's just go play.
It's one thing to ask a team to buy into the style of play that you like, blocking shots, playing hard. You go out there and you watch your star players and high-end guys do it night in and night out. Why can this group do that?
They know how to win. I watched Jack Eichel block one there, I think, in the end of the second period. A number of other guys. They've won before, so they understand what it takes. And I'm proud of them. I'm so fortunate to have the opportunity to meet a lot of these guys that I didn't know before I came here and just see how they.
Best part about Torts here, right? Let's just say he leads them to the Stanley Cup championship. There's a good chance Torts might be fired by January of next year. He's getting through to the room right now, though, Joe.
He is, Donnie. And listen, you got to give credit to the organization. Yeah. I mean, this is their third Stanley Cup Finals in 9 seasons, Donnie. I mean, that's just, and they keep re-upping. They push the right buttons. They get the right players. And look at that. I mean, they're doing something well in Vegas. Wouldn't have thought it'd be a hockey town, but guess what? It's very much a hockey town. No matter how many sports they bring in there, it's all about Vegas.
Let's hear from Mitch Marner on the champion side as well.
It's been good about staying in the moment, not celebrating too much, but we could see some emotion on the ice. Just what was that like?
Yeah, it's a special moment. Like I was saying to Sean, I mean, there's been some dark times in hockey for myself, honestly. Thankful for my family, my brother, my mom and dad, my wife, all my friends around me. So, that was a moment just to express, some joy and some, some fun there. And I'll enjoy it for the night and then, be ready to go to work.
How do you sum up the last 2 months?
It's been good. It's been a lot of fun, to be honest. It's been a lot of hard work, a lot of commitment from every single guy in this locker room. And that's something you love to see out of your team. Guys just come to work every day excited, ready to work. We want to make each other better. And on games, like I said, we have so much trust with whoever's going over the boards. And that showed again today.
That's incredible. Like Joe, professional athletes obviously live among us. You go to the mall, they're probably there. You go out to a restaurant, they're there. Hockey players always astound me because I don't know if I could ever recognize a hockey player outside of them in their pads and playing hockey. I saw a picture, Joe, the Flyers. They went to the Phillies game, a team-ending photo. I was like, these dudes could walk by you and have no idea who they were, what they played, or how good they were at their sport.
It's so amazing, right? They blend in like you just have no clue as to who they are or what they are. It's amazing.
Outside of Sidney, if Sidney Crosby was wearing a pair of shorts walking, what is those tree trunks? Oh, that's Sidney Crosby over there. We'll be right back. Football news and notes, Joe. By the way, taking a look, we are a couple days away from the month of June. And I don't like, June to me is not football season, but July is, Joe, because that's when teams get underway in training camp, and it feels like that engine that's called the NFL just rolls along. But I want to talk about some college topics, which we brushed on, Joe, earlier, and you gave a great caffeinated Joe. Sources. According to Pete Thamel, the NCAA has denied Texas Tech quarterback Brendan Sorsby's request for reinstatement for eligibility for the 2026 season. Sorsby has completed, by the way, a 35-day inpatient rehab. This dude's away for over a month getting help on, hey, don't send this FanDuel bet, DraftKings bet in right now. But he's out and he should be at this point. But by the way, for a kid that loved to gamble, man, in a day and age where you're a quarterback and you're going to get paid a lot of money, boy, if he just kept it, again, Joe, as I said, blackjack, roulette, NHL hockey, Major League Baseball, he would be playing. But even a judge who is probably a season ticket holder, donor, and graduate of Texas Tech is like, come on, man, I can't overturn this where I'm going to let you play. It was that bad.
Yeah, listen, 10,000 bets, Turkish basketball games, Belarus handball. Like, he was, if it could be bet on, he was apparently betting on it. And don't forget, the other problem, Donnie, was, he might have been under the legal age to actually place those bets was another problem. And, by the way, he's being sued by his former university, Cincinnati. They want $1 million back in the NIL money that they gave him. So, it's not going well for Sorsby right now.
Let's go through the Pete's here. How about Pete Nakos? And I love trash talk between coaches and universities in their own conference. I think it is fantastic. Sarkisian on his Ole Miss basket weaving comments, quote, the class was irrelevant. And that was a poor choice of words on my part here. That basket weaving goes back decades here, Joe. Like, I went to college. We didn't have basket weaving. I wonder if universities actually do have basket weaving just to get that elective and keep you eligible here.
I haven't heard that term, Donnie, in so long, because that was like the term we would always hear. Weaving? Yeah. What'd you get? What'd you major in? You're an athlete? So what'd you take? Basket weaving 101? Like, I've never even seen somebody weave a basket. Like, I don't even know what you're talking about here, but I haven't heard that
1930s? Like, hey, it's just a basket weaving. Well, let me see the basket that you made. Is it quality? Is it good? Can we sell it at Bed Bath & Beyond, which is now defunct? I don't know how we got to this point here. On 3, Joe, with a tweet. Georgia's Kirby Smart on the SEC breaking away if national rules can't be agreed upon here. Boy, we are just leveraging against leverages to leverage, Joe. What is going on? It truly is the Wild Wild West, because every day we hear something new and we have a different twist on what could take place, and conferences trying to flex their muscles. Like the SEC's like, we'll just break away. The Big Ten's like 24 teams or none. What's going on out here?
Yeah, and the ACC is like, don't forget us. Well, we're in. We want more teams.
Your power.
Help us. Yeah. Well, we're going to see whether or not who wields more power, Donnie. Is it the SEC? Is it the Big Ten? Because it's all about the money. Ultimately, it's all about the money. But the SEC is still all about the ego, which is hilarious to me.
Now, Joe, we started out here talking in the early lineup about Jacobs and his, de facto issues he's going to have now, getting arrested, multiple felonies. Well, we got a pathway to what you could probably expect. Falcons defensive end, James Pierce Jr., was approved for a program that could lead to his case against him being dismissed after 1 year. If you remember, this guy was stalking and actively blocking and trying to crash in to his ex-girlfriend, Rakia Jackson. But you know what Rakia Jackson did? Dropped the request for a permanent restraining order. And as part of the agreement, Pierce Jr. must stay away from Jackson for the next 12 months while the case remains open. I'm going to get out my crystal ball, Joe, and it says Rakia Jackson and James Pierce Jr., they're going to be dating within a year, and all is well here. I don't know what happens. I don't know how these stories get out. They seem disastrous at the time, and who would accept these people back? But maybe they just like these defunct type of relationships, and that's what they do.
And that's it's head scratching, Donnie, but it's also a story as old as time, right? It's been happening all the time. It's crazy.
Rich athlete, great lawyer. You don't do any time. Let me tell you this right now, Joe. You just changed the name Franklin Jr. with Right Side Jr. here. I'm going away to jail, and my life is over. But this guy's going to make millions of dollars and probably still date the person who he damn near scared to death. By the way, quick notes on this. Patrick Mahomes, was he ever injured at all, Joe? 5.5 months removed. He's at OTAs. Looks like he hasn't lost a step. How about that? Joe and Erie, Donnie Rightside. We hasn't lost any steps here. We're 1 hour down on a hump day. Hour number 2 is coming up next. The fun just continues to happen. Come on back. Let's go. It's hour number 2 on a Wednesday. It's hump day. You are halfway to the weekend. And by the way, a little bit of a cheat code this week, too. You had Monday off, most people. You got Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and away you go. But also, Joe, this is the time of the year I do get a little bit upset by because, when the NBA and NHL playoffs start, it's volume every single night. It's excitement. And now we see teams clinching, which is fantastic to watch. It means we're going to get to the championship. But now we don't have stuff every night to talk about in the NBA or in the NHL. It slows down even further and then eventually gets picked up in the NFL. But we're a ways away from that here. And Major League Baseball All-Star break, can't stand that. So let's enjoy the time that we have with the hot topics that are going to continue to flow. That's what we're going to do in hour number 2. Kevin Walsh is going to join us in the next segment here. PME coming up midway through this hour. And yesterday, I lost my team total with Tampa Bay. Good start, bad finish. But Joe, you're not going to get an easier walk in the park than what you had with the Yanks run line yesterday. Ooh, boy, yeah.
Yeah, that was Yankees bounce back. They didn't live. They had to sweat out game 1, Donnie, against the Royals, and they had Schlittler on the mound. Didn't feel like we were going to have to do a lot of sweating against the Royals yesterday, and boy, oh boy, the Yankees bats came alive and put that to bed early.
Yeah, I was checking in, too, because I saw Tampa Bay wasn't scoring. So how's Joe's doing with the Yankees? 10-1. I'm like, yeah, that's probably going to be a done deal, and it absolutely was. Let's get to the early lineup here. Hot topics to begin hour number 2. OKC back in control, looking to go to back-to-back finals, back-to-back championships here, and to their advantage, getting this done in 6 games or less so they can get rest, just like the New York Knicks are taking. They played very well yesterday, a double-digit victory, an easy cover. The Thunder take a 3-2 series lead back to San Antonio, Joe, for game number 6.
Yeah, and listen, it was not a good night for Wembanyama at all. So much so, Donnie, that he didn't even show up at the press conference afterwards, which we all know is a no-no. But listen, I still think they're going to bounce back. I still think they're going to win at home. And then I can absolutely see this coming back to OKC for a winner-take-all Game 7. And Donnie, all of this means the New York Knicks are in the driver's seat here at this point.
Now, from this game takeaway, Joe, most people are like, okay, game number 6 is coming up. You know what my takeaway is? Jared McCain started last night for maybe the best team in the NBA, dropped 20 points. He's been crucial in their playoff run. Sixers gave him away to get under the cap. Also, did you know that Julian Champagnie on the opposite side for the Spurs in the starting lineup? And I believe the story is correct because I'm looking at his Wikipedia page, but I want to say that he was released by the Philadelphia 76ers so they can quickly add Mac McClung so he can get into the dunk competition. Does that sound like a good organization there with 2 starters on each one of these great basketball teams? That one you gave away for nothing, the other you wanted to let Matt McClung into the dunk contest in the NBA, so you picked him up and dropped him? Ridiculousness, Joe. I get angry every single time I think about the Philadelphia 76ers. But could the Sixers add in the offseason? And might it be LeBron James? But it's not going to be cheap. LeBron's like still one of the better players in the NBA. Pay me like it, Joe.
Yeah, again, there's one spot for him, Donnie. It's going to be in L.A., and that's the end of it. All of this is that don't expect me to come back here to L.A. for less money. So you pay me, maybe I'll take the little L.A. discount here, but the farewell tour is happening in L.A., Donnie. That's basically what he's telling everyone.
Highest payroll in the NBA got swept in the Eastern Conference Finals. And you might say, like, hey, that's a pretty good tribute there, getting to the Eastern Conference Finals. But in game number 1, which set the tone for that series, call a couple of these, Joe. They're free if you have them. Win that game, and maybe you're still playing today. But analytics says Kenny Atkinson is a damn good coach, even if the results say otherwise in the Eastern Conference Finals. But he's back.
Well, now his team might have been unlucky to blow a 22-point lead with 7 minutes to go in game 1, but he is definitely lucky, absolutely lucky to be returning as Cavs fans. The pitchforks are out, and they wanted him gone ASAP, but guess what? He's back, Cavs fans.
If you are booked on these charges, Joe, and I'm just going to read it, and then we'll get to the play here. Domestic abuse, criminal damage to property, domestic abuse, disorderly conduct, strangulation and suffocation, and intimidation of a victim here. Doesn't look like you're probably going to have your job for too long. But in the NFL or professional sports, if you're a great athlete, sometimes they turn the other cheek. Now, we'll see. The Packers, and they'll probably say, and I've already said it, investigation is ongoing. No comment at this time. Hopefully it goes away. But we also just read you a story about James Pierce Jr., who was in a similar circumstance. Who was like, hey, show up at this class and all will be forgotten and get back to your football career.
Well, but Josh Jacobs is vehemently denying all of this. In fact, they're saying right now there is a lot of evidence that has not been made public yet. So we all need to just let it play out. So listen, you give him the benefit of the doubt here, Donnie. But if it's anything else other than total exoneration, this is not good for Jacobs or for the Green Bay Packers.
Certainly isn't. But you know, it is good. Play good football in the field, make a lot of money. Derwin James, the highest paid safety in the history of the NFL, surpassing the 25, or making 25.2, which surpasses Ravens safety Kyle Hamilton, who signed in 2025. In LA, there big money going around, and a good player, deservedly so.
And listen, I think, Donnie, when he signed the contract that just ended, right, back in 2022, it was the highest then as well. So that goes to show you just how good he has. He's got 2 record-setting contracts under his belt in his career. That is pretty impressed.
Going to arbitration. Will this go to court? How much is this check going to be for Brian Flores here? He's saying he was discriminated against in Miami, wasn't fair, he got fired, and other head coaching practices across the league, figuring he should be a head coach. Take color out of the situation here. You know what owners don't want? a guy that they might hire who might sue them later because of something that was said, which they took offense to at this point. I don't care what color you are, as I said at this point. Brian Flores is going to get a big check here, but this is an interesting case that moves forward. Will it get to discovery? Will it go all the way to the finish line? And which lawyers will prevail? But it looks like the one thing we know, Flores is going to get a check.
Well, and the NFL's in trouble because the NFL, of course, has lawyers on speed dial, and they basically took this right to the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
I don't know how they got that, but it was elevated to the Supreme Court, and guess what? Yeah, the Supreme Court said, yeah, no, his discrimination lawsuit can proceed. So they're out of luck, Donnie, the NFL. Guess what? It's going to be litigated one way or the other.
You know, it's interesting, too, Brian Flores, like, forget about the trades of, like, sitting in your office, the owner coming down saying, hey, man, I'll give you a bonus, probably half joking, half not. If you lose a couple games, you'll get us a better draft pick. Flores didn't like that, but also understand this, too. Like, you get Tua Tagovailoa drafted to the Miami Dolphins, and it almost felt like from day number one, Flores was telling Tua, you stink, I didn't want you here, I don't know what you're doing here, and away you go. Now, it turns out, Tua got injured, and he was probably right on the back end, but you can't do that to your players and alienate it. But one thing we do know, he is a fantastic defensive coordinator. But also on the top of that, Joe, you got to play nice with other people in the locker room and your ownership and your front office if you want a job in the NFL. It's just the way it is.
Well, I think he is now already resigned to the fact that he is likely not getting a head coaching job in the NFL. So he's going to make sure the NFL pays him as if he was a head coach, Donnie, because this will likely never see a courtroom. Instead, there will be some sort of agreement reached and a payout in a big, big way.
How about a payout for the men's national team if they win the World Cup, or maybe they survive their own group here, but also, Joe, how they got notified. Send out a couple emails, and we know about emails. Hey, I didn't get that email. I got to check my spam. Oh, it's not there. Oh, I had your email address wrong, or just some kid out there in the heartland is like, hey, look who didn't make the team. Let me send him the email, make sure he knows, and post it on social media. Here we go, U.S.
Yeah, that doesn't scream like things are going well here. Like there's just again, good luck. Let's see how long it goes. I hope it does, Donnie. I hope they have a great showing, but I have my doubts.
Yeah, we're not too far away from the World Cup, and not far away from Kevin Walsh. He's up next. It's almost June 1st here, people. That's big news, and maybe at least my neck of the woods here with A.J. Brown. Could he be a Patriot? OTAs for the Philadelphia Eagles has begun, and Jalen Hurts is going to take the mic today. That should be fun, but you know what's more fun? It's DRS Joe Raniero. We welcome in Kevin Walsh, host of In Game Live, right here on the SportsGrid Network. And we sit here Wednesday, which means Tuesday we had one. Show me out. Tell me about it. What happened?
Yeah, we've got ourselves, a Oklahoma City 3-2 lead. We're starting to follow very similar patterns to last year's matchup with, I believe, both Denver and Indiana, where, by the time we head back to that sixth game, the idea is, Oklahoma City will handle it. But that's kind of where we differ a little bit, right? We've seen those Game 6 numbers. The Spurs are booked as favorites here. The remarkable thing is for the Spurs, defensively is where they are leaving these losses. They have to be so frustrated with themselves. Now, the Game 1 victory, they allowed 115, but remember, that was in double overtime, right? So I believe they allowed 101 in regulation of that game. They allowed 82 in their Game 4 victory. But in the 3 Thunder wins, 122, 123, 127, and a lot of it is the free throw line. 38 OKC free throws last night. And I know the refs are a story in every Thunder game, Thunder series, but some of it is just they keep putting the Thunder in the bonus for 80% of these quarters. And at that point, the Thunder are going to attack smartly if they're already in the bonus. And the Spurs are making a lot of silly fouls. I think Julian Champagny managed to have multiple moving screen fouls. Like, you just set a bad screen at that point then. You're like, stop setting moving screens, guys.
We say it all the time, though, Kev, right? We're starting to see how experience plays a big role at these moments, right? When Wembanyama has the game he has last night and doesn't go to the press conference, you've got a very young and inexperienced team right now. And sometimes, listen, it took Jordan forever, right? You got to lose before you can win. And right now, I think that's the growing pains with San Antonio. Even OKC, when they've looked their worst, have they ever looked worried? Like it looks like they have been very calm, cool, collected, been there and done this before. And I think that's huge for them.
Yeah, I think been there. I also think it's who they are, right, Joe? A little bit like they make me look ancient, I think, with just how young they are and just kind of, their demeanor. I think to the Wembanyama point, and it's one of those things where I think we all appreciate how badly he wants to win. I do wonder how he is handling it, though. They've talked a lot about the under-19 France versus USA loss where he fouled out. Obviously, you had the Summer Olympics a couple of years ago, and it's like, he was only 19. It doesn't matter. They were in France. Like, that'll mean as much to him as any basketball game he ever plays his life. And now here he was up 1-0 in this series, right? The rival in Chet, the rival in Shea. I think Wemby will be fine, but a lot of people, if the Spurs season ends in this round, will say, guys, unbelievable year. You are so young. You'll be right back. That's not how Vic's going to feel. I think he's going to wear it really, really harshly if they don't find their way to finish this series off actually with a win in 7.
What's always going to be interesting here is how, the East matches up with the West, because you figure, it's probably going to be the Boston Celtics, maybe the best team, but the Sixers knocked them off and really helped the Knicks out. And they're breezing through, and sometimes you need some help. If you have a major rest advantage where you're not going toe-to-toe every single round with organizations, you got a lot more left in the tank. So we take a look here at some of these odds markets, Kevin. OKC hasn't clinched anything. They're going to go to a game number 6 where they're actually underdogs. But if we look towards the finals, the Oklahoma City Thunder are the minus 160 favorites to win the NBA championship. San Antonio is plus 550, and the New York Knicks at a plus 230. Let's just say this does go 7, and they factors hold on, favorite here for San Antonio. You get maybe a 3 or 4 day break for those Oklahoma City Thunder or San Antonio Spurs. How do you think that sets up in the final? And do you like the Knicks' chances in the final as they wait, or is it just a formality? If you get the Thunder semi-healthy or the San Antonio Spurs semi-healthy, it's not going to matter?
So I have, for a bit now, and have not really changed in this, felt that if it were Knicks Spurs, I would pick the Knicks. And if it were Knicks Thunder, I would pick the Thunder. Though I've realized some of that is that I expect Oklahoma City to win this series. Like, if the Spurs were to make it through, that would obviously be a perception changer somewhat, but I don't think they will. And they are booked as favorites in Game 6. I'm not sure where I'll land on that side just yet right now within this series. But I think that Oklahoma City, we did talk a lot about this, though, I felt, with the Eastern Conference playoffs and just Cleveland being out of legs, right? Going 7 and then going 7 again. If you are OKC, there is legitimate pressure to not have to go 7 and to end this series in 6 and mitigate that rest advantage that we've talked a great deal about now for the New York Knicks when we look ahead to the NBA Finals.
Now, LeBron James, once again in the news, which seems like each and every day, he's making it adamant, Kevin, that he is a free agent. He is not going to be on a discount price to whoever gets him here. Does that pave the way for him to say, you know what, just going to stay here with the Lakers? Or does he take him and his son elsewhere across the NBA?
So I think the Lakers are still the favorite. But that most recent update that he doesn't want to play on a discount for Cleveland, it does make me think, because it could have just said, I won't play on a discount anywhere, full stop.
Yeah.
I do wonder if LeBron is thinking to himself, I will play on a significant discount to be the final piece for the New York Knicks, assuming they lose in the finals.
And also the reports that Kevin Durant now wants to get in either with OKC and or the New York Knicks. He's going somewhere next, people. Doing Kevin tonight, right here on the SportsGrid Network. Tiger Woods, y'all. We haven't heard much from Tiger Woods lately here. Is he back in the country? Is he, got all the help he needs? Is he going to make a tour comeback? Because last time, before all this madness went down, we thought he probably would play in the Masters and was heading towards that. So, new tweet for Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods did not submit an entry to be eligible to play the Open Championship in July and is set to miss all 4 major championships this year. Is he just going to be retired? Does he ride off into the sunset? And that's the way it's done because he ain't getting any younger. And by the way, the chance that I could come back no majors this year, which means he's not going to play any competitive golf either then.
Yeah, no, I think it's lay low for a while. I don't see any, Donnie, call me crazy. I don't see any Tiger Woods appearances anytime soon, especially during the season. Or over the next couple of months while the majors are still out there. So I think Tiger we might hear from him closer to the end of the year when, it's the news cycle has died down on golf a little bit, and then he'll pop up somewhere along the lines. But I think we've seen and heard from the last of Tiger for a little while.
I tell you, man, you're just robbed of what could have been for Tiger Woods if he never just self-destructed. Sometimes they have, man, it's just the injuries that catch up. Every one of them, Joe, self-inflicted here. And here we go, no more majors. Maybe next year, but how long is that going to last for? How about this one, Joe? Talking about improving your surroundings. Como is one of the best stories in sports right now. Bankrupt in 2017. Purchased for 800,000, I guess, euros or pounds, whatever that might be. Went from the 4th division to the 1st, qualified for the Champions League, and revenue, Joe, from $1 million to $60 million. By the way, playing right on the waterfront right there with that stadium. Looks nice.
That is really nice. It's interesting, Donnie. How's that for an investment? Better than a player card, I guess, right? Better than getting Wembayama there. Bigger return there. My goodness. There's some money in soccer, huh?
$5 million here. Time, Joe, for our Fade the Public poll. Let's go. Fading the Public today, Joe. Where are we going and what you want to watch out here? Which major is your favorite to watch? Me, I abstained, Joe, and I wrote no. I don't want to watch any of them. I can't stand tennis. It's the most boring thing I've ever seen. But if I had to pick one, of course, it would be the U.S. Open, man. Keep it here.
It was funny, Donnie. We said the same thing. Was it last year when Alcaraz and Sinner played 97 sets for the championship? And it might have been, it just kind of sucks you in, right? You don't know it's on. Then all of a sudden you flip it on. You're like, all right, I'll leave it on. And next thing you know, 3 hours later, you're like, wait, what is it, deuce again? What is going on here? So I do think Wimbledon has, because it's on early in the morning, when you get up, you have a call. It's like, oh, look. That's on. That would be my choice here if there was going to be a major I'd sit in front of.
Yeah. How about a major here for you, Joe? Best bets coming up right here. Bye. Let's go. Joe won last night. He's ready to go once again. Joe, take it away. Where do you go with your best bet here?
Keep it simple, Donnie. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Yankees on the run line, plus 105 with Garrett Cole on the mound. Noah Cameron going for the Royals. He tends to walk guys. That's not good. I'll take the Yankees winning by more than a run again here today.
All right. For me, Joe, I'm going to go a little against the grain, use a little analytics here, and take a team that is pretty good. And that's the St. Louis Cardinals, Joe. Tarps off, maybe. Do you know what we need? Just 4 runs in here to cash a ticket. You might say, Donnie, where are you going with this? And where do you find out? I'm going to go XFIP minus matchup here. Chad Patrick's ERA, Joe, 2.63. Whoa! You can't fade that here. Well, ERA is old, in with the new, people. How about this, Joe? 4.89 XFIP number. Not very good. Sierra number 4.82 in that danger territory. And his XFIP minus, which brings ballpark and league into play, is actually at a 121. So now we say to ourselves, how does that relay? Pretty good looking lineup today with a lot of walks in the lineup for the St. Louis Cardinals. I'm going to take a cheap price on the Cardinals here on a game that you might not think they're going to be competitive in the afternoon. Give me the Cardinals team total over 4, Joe. Little analytic play and a fade on Chad Patrick, who on the surface has good numbers. But if we look a little bit deeper, he could be in a little bit of trouble today. That's where I'm going.
Cardinals much better than we give them credit for here. I thought they were going to be a dumpster fire, but they have been competitive, and it's a good spot to back them here today.
Yeah, weighted on base percentage and ISO is actually very good for Patrick, but that underlying metric where maybe he's due to give up a couple runs, and it happens today. 2-0 is the goal, and we'll see you once again on a Thursday for more Best Bets, but stick around. PME on TEL. That's what's coming up next.